The morning my world shattered started like any other Saturday. I was in the kitchen, making pancakes shaped like dinosaurs for Logan, my 6-year-old son, when my phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "We need to talk. It's about Derek." My stomach dropped. Those 4 words had haunted me for years, always preceding some crisis, some emergency, some desperate need for money. I'm Jerry, 32 years old, living in Atlanta with my wife Sarah and our son. For as long as I can remember, I've been the responsible one in my family, the one with the steady job, the savings account, the ability to bail everyone out when things went south. My younger brother Derek, 28, and perpetually finding himself, had been the recipient of my help more times than I could count. College tuition, when he dropped out twice. Rent money when he got evicted. Bail money when he got arrested for a bar fight. 20,000 here, 10,000 there. Sarah had been patient, understanding even, but we'd reached our limit. The phone rang before I could respond to the text. Mom's voice was different this time, harder, colder. "Derek needs $50,000. He's in trouble with some people, real trouble this time. You're going to help him." Not a question, a statement, an expectation carved in stone by years of me saying yes. "Mom, I can't." Sarah and I have already given Derek over $80,000 over the years. We're saving for Logan's education, for our future. Derek needs to figure this out himself. The silence on the other end was deafening. When she finally spoke, her voice was venomous. "After everything we've done for you, after raising you, supporting you, this is how you repay us?" I wanted to laugh at the irony. They'd kicked me out at 18, telling me to make my own way. Every achievement, every milestone I'd reached on my own. But pointing that out would only make things worse. "Mom, I love you and Dad, and I love Derek, but I can't keep enabling him. He needs to learn to stand on his own feet. You'll regret this, Jerry. Mark my words. Family helps family, and if you can't understand that, then maybe you need to learn a lesson about what really matters." She hung up before I could respond. I stood there, spatula in hand, watching the pancake burn on the griddle. Logan ran in, his Spider-Man pajamas making swooshing sounds as he moved. "Daddy, is breakfast ready? I'm starving." His innocent smile reminded me why I'd made the right choice. This little boy, my son, was my priority now. The next 3 days were a barrage of manipulation, Dad called, using his disappointed voice, the one that used to make me feel 2 inches tall. "Son, your mother's crying herself to sleep. Is this really the hill you want to die on?" Derek sent messages alternating between desperate pleas and angry accusations. "You got yours, and now you're pulling the ladder up behind you. Some brother you are." Sarah stood by me, her hand on my shoulder as I deleted voicemail after voicemail. "You're doing the right thing," she assured me. "Derek's almost 30. It's time he learned consequences." But even with her support, the guilt gnawed at me. Was I being selfish? Was I abandoning my family when they needed me most? Thursday evening changed everything. Mom called Sarah's phone, knowing I'd stopped answering mine. Sarah put it on speaker. "Sarah, dear, we're having a family dinner Sunday. Everyone needs to be there. It's important." Sarah looked at me, and I nodded. Maybe they wanted to talk things through rationally. Maybe we could find a compromise. "We'll be there," Sarah said. "What time?" 2 o'clock. "Don't be late. And bring Logan. We haven't seen our grandson in weeks." Something in her tone made my skin crawl, but I pushed the feeling aside. They were my parents. Surely, they wouldn't do anything to hurt us. Sunday arrived gray and humid, typical Atlanta summer weather. Logan was excited, chattering about showing Grandma and Grandpa his new Lego creation. As we drove to my parents' house in Decatur, I noticed Sarah's knuckles were white as she gripped the steering wheel. "Something feels off," she said. "The way your mom sounded." "It'll be fine," I said, trying to convince myself as much as her. Maybe they've come to their senses. We pulled into the driveway at 1:55. The house looked normal. Dad's meticulously maintained lawn, Mom's garden gnome standing sentinel by the walkway. But Derek's car wasn't there. Neither was my Aunt Martha's. Or any of the cousins' vehicles. "Where is everyone?" Sarah asked. The front door was unlocked. We walked in to find my parents sitting in the living room, dressed in their church clothes. No food smells from the kitchen, no table set for dinner. Just my parents sitting there with expressions I'd never seen before, cold, calculating, almost triumphant. "Where's dinner?" Logan asked, his little voice cutting through the tension. "Grandma, did you cook my favorite mac and cheese?" My mother's face softened for just a moment as she looked at him, then hardened again as her eyes met mine. "There is no dinner," Dad said flatly. "We needed to see you, all of you." Sarah instinctively pulled Logan closer. "What's going on? You said this was a family dinner." Mom stood up, her church dress rustling. "We've been thinking about what kind of example Jerry is setting for Logan. Abandoning family when they need help. Choosing money over blood. Is that really what you want to teach your son?" My blood pressure spiked. "Are you seriously trying to guilt me through my child? Derek's problems are not my responsibility anymore. I've helped him for years. And family helps family forever!" Dad's voice boomed, making Logan jump. "That's what we taught you." "No," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "You taught me to leave home at 18 and figure it out myself. You taught me that I was on my own. I succeeded despite that, not because of your help. And now you want me to bankrupt my family for Derek? Not happening." Mom's face contorted with rage. "You ungrateful." She caught herself, glancing at Logan. "We thought you might say that. So we've decided you need a lesson in what it feels like to be abandoned by family." "What are you talking about?" Sarah demanded. Dad pulled out his phone, showing us a timer. "In exactly 10 minutes, we're leaving for our church. There's a special service today, and we're taking Logan with us." "Like hell you are," I said, stepping forward. "Oh, you misunderstand," Mom said with a smile that chilled me to my core. "We're taking him, and we're leaving him there, just for a few hours. Just long enough for you to understand what Derek feels like. Abandoned, alone, scared." Sarah grabbed Logan and headed for the door, but Dad blocked it. "You can't leave, not until you agree to help Derek." "This is insane," I shouted. "You're talking about abandoning a 6-year-old child, your grandson." "Not abandoning," Mom corrected. Teaching a lesson, the church is safe, someone will watch him, and when you come to your senses and agree to help Derek, we'll all go pick him up together. Like a family should. Logan started crying, confused and scared. Mommy, what's happening? I don't want to go to church alone. The next few minutes were chaos. I tried calling 911, but Dad grabbed my phone. Sarah held Logan tight while trying to push past Dad. Mom kept talking, her voice eerily calm. All you have to do is say yes, Jerry. Say you'll help Derek, and this all stops. It's so simple. You're both insane, I said. This is kidnapping. This is child abuse. I'll have you arrested. With what proof? Mom asked. We're his grandparents. We're taking him to church. Who's going to believe we had malicious intent? Besides, by the time any police arrive, you'll have already agreed to our terms. Logan was sobbing now, clinging to Sarah. I want to go home. Please, Daddy, I want to go home. I've never felt rage like I did in that moment. These people, who claim to love family above all else, were terrorizing my son to manipulate me. You're not his legal guardians. You can't take him anywhere without our permission. Watch us, Dad said. He moved towards Sarah and Logan. That's when I snapped. Don't you dare touch them. I shoved him back, harder than I intended. He stumbled, catching himself on the doorframe. Jerry, Mom shrieked. You just assaulted your father. Now we definitely need to remove Logan from this violent environment. It was a trap. Every move we made, they twisted. Sarah was backing toward the kitchen with Logan, her phone in her hand. I saw her typing something quickly, hopefully messaging someone for help. Please, I tried one more time. Don't do this. Logan has nothing to do with this. He's innocent. So was Derek once, Mom said. Before, his own brother turned his back on him. You want to protect Logan? Then protect your family. All of your family. The doorbell rang. We all froze. Mom went to answer it and my brother walked in. Derek looked terrible, unshaven, clothes wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. But there was something else in his expression. Shame. Mom, Dad, stop this, he said quietly. This isn't right. Derek, stay out of this, Dad warned. This is for your own good. No, Derek said, louder this time. Threatening Logan? Using a kid? This is sick. Jerry's right. I need to figure out my own problems. Mom turned on him. They've poisoned you against us too? Your brother won't help you, and now you're taking his side? There shouldn't be sides, Derek shouted. We're supposed to be a family. The argument exploded, Mom screaming at Derek for his betrayal, Dad yelling about family loyalty. Sarah had managed to get Logan to the bathroom and locked the door. I could hear her on the phone with someone, the police, I hoped. Derek and I stood together for the first time in years, united against our parents' madness. You were really going to abandon Logan at a church? Derek asked them, disbelief clear in his voice. A 6-year-old kid? What if something happened to him? Nothing would happen, Mom insisted. It's a church. It's safe. We were making a point. You were traumatizing a child to extort money from me, I corrected. That's what you were doing. Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Dad's face went pale. You called the police? On your own parents? Sarah did, I said, and I'm glad. You need help. Professional help. This isn't normal behavior. Mom started crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of rage. We gave you everything! We sacrificed everything for you boys! No, I said, my voice firm. You gave Derek everything. You gave him my college fund when he wanted to start his first business. You gave him my car when he crashed his. You gave him chance after chance while telling me to be responsible, to be the example. And I am, but not anymore, not like this. The police arrived. 2 officers entered, assessing the situation. Sarah emerged from the bathroom with Logan, who immediately ran to me. I picked him up, holding him tight. It's okay, buddy. Everything's going to be okay. The officers separated us to take statements. I told them everything, the threats, the attempted kidnapping, the extortion. Sarah corroborated from her perspective. Even Derek, to my surprise, supported our version of events. My parents told a different story. They were just having a family discussion. Things got heated, misunderstandings all around. But the officers weren't buying it, especially when Logan, brave little Logan, told them in his small voice that Grandma and Grandpa wanted to leave me at church alone to make Daddy sad. The officers suggested we leave and consider our legal options. As we walked to our car, Mom called out, "This isn't over, Jerry. You've destroyed this family, and you'll pay for it." I turned back one last time. No, Mom, you destroyed it the moment you decided to use my son as a weapon. We're done. The next few days were a blur of legal consultations, therapy appointments for Logan, and sleepless nights. Sarah and I decided to pursue a restraining order. Our lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia, who specialized in family law, listened to our story with growing disgust. They plan to abandon your child at a church to coerce you into giving them money? That's attempted kidnapping, child endangerment, and extortion. You have a strong case. Derek surprised me by calling that evening. Jerry, I'm sorry. I had no idea they were planning that. When Mom told me about it afterward, I came straight over. It's sick. Did you know they were going to try something? I asked. A long pause. I knew they were angry. I knew they wanted to pressure you, but not this, never this. I would never hurt Logan. I believed him. Derek had many faults, but he loved his nephew. What are you going to do about the $50,000? I'm handling it. Sold my car, some stuff. Got a payment plan worked out. It's not your problem, Jerry. It never should have been. A week later, we were served with papers. My parents were suing us for grandparents' rights, claiming we were alienating them from Logan. The audacity took my breath away. They'd tried to kidnap him, and now they were playing victim. Patricia laughed when she saw the papers. This is desperation. No judge will grant them access after what they did, but we need to countersue. Make it clear that their actions have consequences. The court date was set for 6 weeks out. During that time, my parents escalated their campaign. They told family members we were keeping Logan from them out of spite. They posted on social media about missing their precious grandson. They even showed up at Logan's school, trying to pick him up, claiming there was a family emergency. Thank God we'd already alerted the school about the situation. Each incident was documented, added to our case file. Patricia was building a wall of evidence. They're making our case for us, she said. Every violation of boundaries, every attempted contact shows a pattern of harassment. Logan had nightmares. He'd wake up crying, afraid Grandma and Grandpa were going to take him away. Sarah and I took turns sleeping in his room, promising him he was safe, that no one would take him from us. The therapist said he was processing trauma, that it would take time. 3 weeks before the court date, things escalated dramatically. I was at work when I got a call from Sarah, hysterical. They took him. Jerry, they took Logan. My world stopped. What, how, where? I was at the grocery store. Logan was with me. I turned for 1 second to grab something, and when I turned back, he was gone. Then I saw your dad's car speeding out of the parking lot. I saw Logan in the back. I called 911 while running to my car. This time, it wasn't a threat. They'd actually done it. They'd kidnapped my son. The next 2 hours were the longest of my life. Police issued an Amber Alert. I drove around frantically, checking their house, the church, anywhere I could think of. Sarah was with another set of officers, reviewing security footage from the store. Then Derek called. Jerry, they're at Aunt Martha's house in Marietta. I'm on my way there now. I'll stall them until you arrive. I gave the address to the police and broke every traffic law getting there. I arrived to find police cars surrounding the house. Derek was on the front lawn, holding Logan, who was crying but safe. My parents were in handcuffs. I ran to Logan, taking him from Derek's arms. Daddy, he sobbed. They said we were going to get ice cream, but then they brought me here and wouldn't let me call you. Mom was screaming as they put her in the police car. We're his grandparents. We have rights. This is our grandson. The officer shook his head. Ma'am, you violated a restraining order and kidnapped a child. You have the right to remain silent. Dad looked at me as they led him away. For the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. The reality of what they'd done was finally hitting him. Derek stood beside me. I'm so sorry, Jerry. When they called and told me they had Logan, I knew I had to do something. I told them I was coming to celebrate, then called you immediately. You did the right thing, I said, still holding Logan tight. Thank you. Sarah arrived, and we had a tearful reunion. Logan wouldn't let go of either of us. The police took our statements, and this time, my parents were held without bail. The charges were serious: kidnapping, child endangerment, violating a restraining order. The criminal trial was set before our civil case. My parents faced up to 15 years in prison. Their lawyer contacted Patricia, wanting to make a deal. If we dropped the charges, they'd relinquish any claim to grandparents' rights and never contact us again. Sarah and I discussed it at length. Part of me wanted to agree, to just make it all go away, but Patricia advised against it. They committed a serious crime. If you let them walk away, what message does that send? That they can terrorize your family and face no consequences? She was right. We proceeded with the trial. The courtroom was packed with family members, most of whom had chosen sides. Some supported my parents, believing their version of events, that this was all a misunderstanding, that we were overreacting. Others, including Derek, supported us. Mom and Dad looked smaller in their defendants' chairs, older somehow. Mom kept dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, playing the victim. Dad stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. The prosecutor laid out the case methodically. The initial threat at their house, the restraining order, the violation at Logan's school, and finally, the kidnapping. Security footage showed Dad approaching Logan at the store, talking to him, leading him away while Sarah was distracted. It showed Logan looking confused, then scared as they drove away. When Logan had to testify via closed-circuit television, my heart broke. His small voice describing how Grandpa said Mommy knew where they were going, how Grandma wouldn't let him use her phone, how scared he was when he realized we weren't coming. The defense tried to paint it as a misunderstanding. They were grandparents who loved their grandson. They thought they had permission. They never meant any harm, but the evidence was overwhelming. Derek testified for the prosecution, describing the conversation where our parents outlined their plan to abandon Logan at the church. Several other family members testified about my parents' increasingly erratic behavior regarding the situation. When I took the stand, I looked directly at my parents. I loved you. I trusted you. I wanted Logan to have a relationship with his grandparents. But you used him as a weapon. You traumatized him to try to control me. That's not love. That's abuse. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours, guilty on all charges. My mother wailed when the verdict was read. My father finally broke, tears streaming down his face. But I felt no satisfaction, no victory, just sadness. Sadness that it had come to this. Sadness for the family we could have been. The sentencing hearing was a month later. The judge had received letters from both sides, family members pleading for leniency, others detailing similar controlling behavior they'd experienced from my parents over the years. The prosecutor recommended 5 years. The defense asked for probation. The judge looked at my parents sternly. You violated the most sacred trust, that between grandparents and a grandchild. You used a 6-year-old child as a pawn in a financial manipulation scheme. You showed no regard for his emotional well-being or safety. She continued, however, I also see 2 people who have no prior criminal record, who by all accounts were decent people, until this situation spiraled out of control. I sentence you to 3 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 18 months, followed by 5 years of probation. My parents were led away in handcuffs. Mom looked back at me one last time and mouthed, I'm sorry, too little, too late. Outside the courthouse, Derek approached us. I know it doesn't mean much, but I'm clean now. Got a job, a real one. I'm seeing a therapist about my issues. What they did, what I let them do for years, it was wrong. It means a lot, I said, and meant it. Logan asks about Uncle Derek. Maybe, when things settle down, we can start rebuilding. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I'd like that. Sarah's parents, who'd been our rock throughout this ordeal, took us out for dinner that night. Logan was staying with them, having a movie night with his cousins. Her father raised his glass to doing the right thing, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The next few months were about healing. Logan's nightmares gradually stopped. He started laughing again, playing again. The therapist said children are resilient, but we needed to remain vigilant for any lasting effects. It's been a year now since that horrible Sunday at my parents' house. They're still in prison, though they'll likely be released on parole soon. They've sent letters through their lawyer, requesting forgiveness, wanting to make amends. I haven't responded. Maybe someday I'll be ready, but not yet. Derek has become a regular part of our lives again. He comes for Sunday dinners, takes Logan to the park, and has been sober for 11 months. He's working as a manager at a restaurant, paying back debts, including some of what I'd given him over the years. I told him it wasn't necessary, but he insisted. It's part of my recovery, he said, making things right. Logan still asks about his grandparents occasionally. We've told him age-appropriate truths, that Grandma and Grandpa made some bad choices and had to go away for a while to learn better behavior. He seems to accept this with the simple wisdom of children. Sarah and I are stronger than ever, going through this trial by fire, standing together against the unthinkable, cemented our partnership. We've started therapy together, working through the trauma and trust issues this whole situation created. I've learned a lot about boundaries, about the difference between helping and enabling, about how family isn't always about blood, but about who shows up for you when things get dark. Sarah's parents have become the grandparents Logan deserves, loving, supportive, and respectful of boundaries. Sometimes I drive past my parents' house, now up for sale to pay for their legal fees. I remember birthday parties in that backyard, Christmas mornings in that living room. But I also remember the cold calculation in their eyes as they planned to abandon my son, the fury when I wouldn't bend to their will. Family helps family, that's what they always said. But real help doesn't come with manipulation and threats. Real family doesn't use children as weapons. Real love doesn't require absolute obedience. I got a call from the prosecutor last week. My parents' parole hearing is coming up. They want me to make a statement, either supporting or opposing their release. I haven't decided yet. Part of me wants them to stay locked up forever, away from Logan, away from us. But another part remembers the good times. The parents they were before money and control twisted them into something unrecognizable. Sarah says I'll make the right decision when the time comes. Derek says he'll support whatever I choose. Logan, sweet Logan, just wants to know if we can get ice cream after school tomorrow. I pick him up from school now, every day. I watch him run toward me, backpack bouncing, face lit up with joy. "Daddy!" he shouts, launching himself into my arms. And in that moment, I know I did the right thing. I protected him. I stood up to the people who should have protected him too, but chose instead to use him. The story isn't over. There will be more letters, more attempts at reconciliation, more family drama, but the important part is done. Logan is safe. Our real family, Sarah, Logan, Derek, Sarah's parents, is stronger than ever. And my parents learned that actions have consequences, that love isn't control, and that some lines once crossed can never be uncrossed. As I tuck Logan into bed tonight, he asks me to check under the bed for monsters. I do, assuring him there's nothing there. The real monsters are locked away, I think, but don't say. Instead, I kiss his forehead and tell him what I tell him every night. You're safe, you're loved, and Daddy will always protect you, and I mean every word.